Hi there, I'm Jess, and I thought I'd do a different video than what I typically upload to my YouTube channel. So typically I just showcase my ants doing ant behaviors, and that's about it. But since we're in the middle of anting season where I'm from, I thought I'd showcase some of the more useful items I use on a day-to-day basis when keeping ants. So why don't we just start with some of the basic stuff. So, of course, cotton balls. If you're an ant keeper, you know how important these are for cleaning out worlds, creating test tube setups. Yeah, pretty basic stuff. Next, we have the test tube, which I just mentioned. I typically use these 16 millimeter by 150 millimeter borosilicate glass test tubes, uh, pretty readily available from numerous online vendors. I prefer glass over plastic because of the clarity. They don't craze, so when you clean them, they're always clear. They do have a tendency to break if you're not gentle with them, but that's just something you have to learn to live with. Uh, I think it's worth the hassle of a broken test tube. Uh, the reusability of a glass test tube, in my opinion, far exceeds plastic. Plastic tends to craze and crack and become cloudy over time, which, if you're wanting to view the ants in the test tube, is suboptimal. So that's a test tube. Next, we have scissors. I like these fine point, like suture removal type scissors. Uh, Again, readily available from numerous online vendors. I like these for cutting up insects, for feeders, and whatever else you need to cut to give your ants. So these are pretty basic ant keeping item. Next, I'll move on to forceps, and typically I like two different types of forceps. I like these needlepoint forceps for manipulating really small things in test tubes, and then these more blunt offset forceps for crushing insects, ripping them apart. These are really useful. And being stainless steel, they're easy to clean, and they're hard wearing, so they last a long time. Next is something that I've really, in the last few years, I've really come to rely on a lot, and it's called a compounding spoon and spatula. And these are great for manipulating things in test tubes. Like, for instance, on the spoon side, I'll take a scoop of seeds and stick them in the test tube if I'm feeding like harvester ants or whatever. Also, the spatula side is great for cleaning things out. You can pull out dried insect carcasses and little bundles of cotton that the ants may have chewed at. So the spatula side is very useful. So that's an indispensable tool in my opinion. Next, I have sterile cotton swabs, cotton-tipped applicators rather. These are great for cleaning out things in the test tube that you can't quite get with the compounding spatula. You need to clean the glass or pull some debris out of a test tube, and it's nice that they're sterile so you don't introduce any extra pathogens or bacteria or spores or what have you. Next is syringes, various sizes. I have a 1 milliliter and a 5 milliliter. I also have a 10 milliliter that I use less often, but great for watering like Tar Heel ants type formicariums. I really like this 1 milliliter size syringe because it's exactly the capacity of a small biformica feeder, which these are great. I feed most of my colonies with water and sunburst with these. Next is a catch cap. Use this to catch stray ants, or if you're out anting, catching queens, it's great too. And great to store food insects that you might want to stick in the freezer to kill. If you want to humanely dispatch a large roach, place it in here, put it in the freezer for a few minutes, take it out, and it's ready to feed to your ants. Next is a petri dish. This one's a 30 millimeter by 10 millimeter rather. Great for feeding the ants. If you've seen any of my other videos, I typically am feeding bloodworm soup in these, so that's very helpful. And then last is brass tacks. Now, that might seem unusual, but these are great for feeding ants in test tubes. So if you have a queen that is semi-claustral, like a Pogonomyrmex or something similar, you're going to be needing to feed her while she's in the founding stage. And this little brass tack allows one to easily place a piece of insect or a couple of fruit flies on it, or some sugar water, or just plain water. And it's easy to place in the tube quickly and then recap it. And then after the ant is done feeding, it's really easy just to pull it out by the top of the tack quickly so you don't disturb the ant. So for feeding ants in test tubes, I really recommend these brass tacks. They're really nice. So that's pretty much my daily tools I use for ant keeping. There's some other tools I use for catching ants. I can probably go over those in another video. But if you have any questions or comments, leave them below and I'll try to answer them as best of my ability. This is my first narrated video, so if this goes well, I'll probably be making more in the same realm as this one. So thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.